YouTube, it's above average Cody, and many of you have been asking my thoughts on Starfield so far now that I've started playing it on stream, and I just want to do a quick little video on the good, the bad, and whether or not this game is worth it, because that's pretty much all of the questions that I've been asked about Starfield so far. So without further ado, let's dive right into my thoughts on the game. Now, I will first off say I am a massive Fallout fan, and I am a massive Skyrim fan, so I do have a little bit of bias towards this style of Bethesda game. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Starfield is an action RPG. You're running around, you're doing missions, you have inventory, you collect loot, you upgrade guns, you can craft things. A lot of fun. It is a single-player game, so it's a big change of pace from pretty much everything I've always done on the channel. But again, my favorite memories are on Fallout and Skyrim, so I'm a little bit biased towards this game. So let's start with talking about what is good about this game. First off, it looks amazing. It looks great. The character models are good. The gun models are good. You can build crazy spaceships. The scenery and the whole aesthetic is really nice. And I'm not somebody who's a big fan of like the whole spaceship, you know, planets, flying around type theme, but they make it look really good, really futuristic. Obviously, it takes place in the future, so it should look futuristic, but I think it looks really, really impressive. Obviously, next-gen graphics are, like, insane regardless. Like, even the recent Call of Duty cutscenes are crazy, but this game looks really good for what it is. Next up, I will say it runs pretty good. I had a few little hiccups and weird things that happened on my PC, but you need a higher level PC to run it. I believe one of the creators of this game actually addressed it, so we're going to get into that in the cons section, but I first want to say that it runs pretty good for me on my PC specs, which aren't too insane with a 3070 and I think a 5700X processor. Now, as for actual good gameplay mechanics, I have some to put in the pros and some to put in the cons. I will first say the way that they demonstrate what you need to do in game, being equipment, scanning for items and enemies, flying the ships, Bethesda is very, very good about doing this. They don't necessarily hold your hand and put you through a half-hour tutorial. They merely give you the basic tools and a basic understanding, and then set you off into the world to kind of learn it yourself and apply it in a way that is going to help you remember it, so when you have to use it later on, it's not so nauseating and frustrating and looking up playthroughs. Perfect example is flying the ships. When I did the quick, like, 10-second tutorial on how to fly the ships and shoot the guns in this game, I was absolutely lost. I had no idea what I was doing, but I got enough of a grasp where I was able to get through the part relatively quickly. And then later on, there was a part of flying the ship where you could either be very stealthy, fly the ship carefully, and, like, sneak up and complete the objective, or you could just go out guns blazing, fly the ship at the enemy, shoot them, kill them, and then complete the objective. And I feel like this gives you a really good opportunity to do it your way and force you to kind of use the things in that sequence to force you to learn how to do it. I had a similar experience with the lockpicking in this game. I was getting a little frustrated, but they give you plenty of opportunities to kind of learn it before you get deep enough into the game, and you are like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So it's kind of nice that they don't necessarily baby you through it, but they don't tell you literally nothing and have you get frustrated and have me opening up a walkthrough on YouTube while I'm trying to play the game at the same time. One thing I will say, too, I'm only about 4 hours deep, so it may be a little early to be making this video, but I feel like I've gotten a really good idea of the game, but it feels like I have accomplished nothing. I can already tell you there's going to be a lot to this game, and I don't want to be able to sink 10 hours into it, feel like I've completed all the main missions, and then be like, okay, $70 game, done with it. I want a big game with a lot to do, and this game is massive, absolutely huge game. So to be able to put 4 hours in on an entire stream and feel like I haven't gotten much done, that's a pretty good feeling with a game of this magnitude and with this amount of hype. I really don't want to be done in a short amount of time. The final thing I'll say in the pro section is this game being, a game like this being on Xbox Game Pass is huge. Instead of being like, oh man, I gotta pull together $70 to buy another game that I might not even like, I literally went on, I signed up for PC Game Pass. I know I was not a Game Pass member after all these years. Signed up for PC Game Pass, $10 out of the bank account. I can play this and like a million other games. It's really a no-brainer. Obviously, they want to suck you into a subscription service, but for a game like this, and as somebody who wasn't too sure if they were going to like it, not being a big fan of the space theme, I think it's a massive pro that this was available to play on Game Pass. And now, guys, I want to jump into the cons, and there was one really big one right off the rip I want to talk about, and it's what you've been watching in the background pretty much this entire time, is the combat. I'm really not a huge fan of the combat so far in this game, although it is very Fallout and Skyrim-esque, where I can go into my inventory, pause what's going on, heal up, you know, switch guns, switch ammo, all of that stuff, guys. It doesn't have anything very unique. It's I point, I shoot, I hide, I heal, and rinse and repeat. In Fallout, you had VATS, where you could pause, you could shoot off their arm if you wanted to, you could shoot them in the head, the body, you had a higher chance. It made combat feel very unique to the Fallout franchise. Skyrim didn't quite have that, but being kind of the medieval dragon-y vibe, there was a lot of melee. You know, you could do the melee and the shield, you could do archery, or you could just do whatever you wanted to, basically. But that was obviously, that had to do with the time period and kind of the style of the game. However, in this one, guys, it doesn't feel like there's anything really special to the combat. Maybe I'm going to encounter more things like that, but like, you can't run around and use melee because you're getting blasted with guns and you're taking too much damage. You can run and gun, obviously, but again, you'll take a lot of damage. You can play cover and shoot, but again, it just feels very stale. There's not too much unique to the combat. Again, the combat's not a monster part of these games, but the majority of Bethesda games feel like they have something unique that makes the combat special for that game and that franchise. But this one, I just really have yet to see what it is. By no means am I saying it's bad. It's just, it kind of stale to me. Next up, guys, it is worth putting the PC specs into the cons. I'm kind of on the fence about this one, but they literally said it was made for next gen, so you need a next gen PC. So if you try to run this on an older PC, it's not going to run good. And I mentioned this in the cons area because I understand not everybody can just up and put $2,000 into their PC. Graphics cards are by no means cheap. Processors, not cheap. An entire PC, definitely not cheap. So maybe I recommend playing it on Xbox if that's your situation. But I will say I have a 3070, 5700 X, and I was able to stream the game with minimal issues. I had really weird USB issues going on with like my mouse disconnecting and stuff while I was streaming it. But that may be my hardware problem as opposed to the game, so I can't count it against them. But the game ran really, really good for me while I was streaming. So again, I'm on the fence with this one. I'm interested to hear in the comments how it's running for you guys and what you guys have for specs if you are playing on PC. But again, it was intended for next gen, so don't expect it to run amazing if you're running 3 gens back on a GPU. And that's pretty much the main points I wanted to cover in the pros and cons section. So now we get to the most important part. Is this game worth purchasing? I'll first say what I was telling everybody in chat the other day. If you are a fan of Fallout, Skyrim, or any of these action RPG games of this style, especially from Bethesda, you will love this game. I do not like outer space vibes at all. I don't really put Halo in the outer space vibes game, obviously mainly a Halo YouTuber here, but I'm not a big fan of the flying the ship, going planet to planet, but they do it really well. They make it not that nauseating. You can fast travel, and obviously it's all the mechanics I love from a Bethesda game. So if you are a fan of Fallout, whether you like space or not, I think you will love the game. I love it so far. I would pay $70 for this game. Again, I did the Game Pass route because I was kind of scared how it was. I normally buy all of my games, but I think this game, if you are in that category, it is completely worth it. However, if you have never played a Fallout game, never played a Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, I mean, but if you have not played Skyrim, and you're not too sure how you're going to feel about this game, Game Pass is a no-brainer way to give it a try. I'm sure many of you may already have Game Pass. It takes 2 seconds to download this and kind of run it and just see, A, how it runs, and B, if you like it. But I really do think this game is amazing. I'm not going to say it's necessarily living up to the amount of hype it got pre-launch, because I don't know if anything could live up to the amount of hype this game was getting pre-launch, but I will say it's a really good time. I'm going to be sinking a lot of hours into it, and it's a really, really enjoyable game to play so far. But again, I'm super biased towards Fallout. I'm super biased towards Bethesda, because those are some of my favorite games of all time. But I really do think this game is worth it, whether you go the $70 route to own it, or if you go obviously the no-brainer $10 route. At $10, it's worth it for any game this size, because to have a game this big that can take this many hours of your time, $10 is very small, because I always manage my games in terms of how many hours of fun I'm going to get out of it. If I'm only going to get 10 hours of fun out of a game, spending $70 is not worth it to me. But if I'm going to get 100, 200 hours to this game, and I'm going to want to keep coming back to it months later, you can't really put a price tag on that. That's a large amount of fun, and I would definitely pay the $70 for it, being this game. Again, I'm a little early in it, so keep that in mind. I'm a little biased towards it because I love Bethesda, even though they like to do things that aren't exactly lovable for the fans. Also keep in mind there's plenty of bugs. There's plenty of glitches, if you will, plenty of exploits. But in my opinion, that's what makes a game really cool and really fun, especially, like, just pulling it up on, like, opening Instagram and seeing the next cool thing, cool, silly, quirky thing people run into in the game. So I don't really put that as a con, but it's obviously not a pro either, because the game having broken parts isn't exactly amazing. But, guys, hopefully this summarized it well enough for you. I kind of bounced all around, but if I had to put it in one sentence, I'm having an absolute blast on this game, and I'm really, really glad that I started to play it. So that's my closing statement here for you guys. So please subscribe to the channel. We'll be streaming this game a little bit more, obviously mainly Halo content, but we upload every single day. So hit that sub button, guys. Leave a like on the video. Leave a comment. How's the game running? Do you like it? Are you thinking about playing it? Do you have any questions? Anything, put it down below in the comment section. And then finally, guys, channel membership. Super thanks to support my channel in that way. It helps me out ever so much. But please, do not feel like you have to. But alrighty, guys. Thank you so much for all the support. Hope this video helped you out. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay tuned for the next video.